Doug Gottlieb, Fox Sports Radio, right after our show. Podcast All Ball with Doug Gottlieb on iTunes, part of the Herd Podcast Network. So yesterday, basically, everybody that's hired an offensive coach, 4 for 4, the quarterback signed up. Apparently in New York, Darnold preferred Adam Gase, who, by the way, made the playoffs the first year, and then Tannehill got hurt, and he dealt with Brock Osweiler and Cutler, so he's, and
Peyton Manning swears by him. That helps, right?
And by the way, he was the guy that, made Tebow work. Now, as much as Tebow worked.
No, look, he made Brock Osweiler work some this year, right? So, look, all of these hires are the same. They're different, but even the Denver Broncos who hired Vic Fangio, that was really so they get Gary Kubiak back running the offense. Kubiak's health has been such a concern,
right?
Twice over in Houston, then, of course, in Denver. But all of these have been, hey, fix the quarterback, because – And yesterday, my show, I think some of your show, is dedicated to talking about Kliff Kingsbury.
Yeah.
Right? And how can you hire a guy who got fired at Texas Tech to be your head coach? What's interesting is we've had some of the greatest college coaches of all time, right? Steve Spurrier and Nick Saban. Like, you go through the list. And Lou Holtz, who have been failures as NFL coaches.
And I mean, by the way, Spurrier and Holtz, disasters.
And the reason, and Saban wasn't exactly knocking it out of the park either,
right.
Okay? It's a different job. It's a completely different job.
It is.
You ask anytime you have somebody here, and Joy touched on it earlier, you ask anybody who's been a college head coach, and they'll tell you coaching is about 15 to 25% of it, depending upon the school, depending upon the resources. Right? And one of the reasons I thought Saban got a little bit exposed is because, hey, there need to be a little bit more coaching on Monday night because the other team had the same or maybe even better talent.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen often. You have to recruit. You have to worry about donors. You have to worry about your athletic director, your president. You're managing the players. You're managing your coaching staff. You're managing the other people, the athletic trainers as well. Grades matter in managing that. Whereas in football, to be a head coach in the NFL, you got to lead men. And then you got to figure out the quarterback, especially with these teams. Not all teams are comprised that way, but with these teams specifically that fired their coaches, all of them needed to fix the quarterback.
It is interesting. So I don't know if this is a big story today, but Kyler Murray I would draft. Now, I if I needed a quarterback, I think he's going to work in the NFL. I don't think he's Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, but I think he and Tua at Alabama, Kyler Murray, Oklahoma, are going to work. It's funny. I think fans think you'll never get hurt in baseball. Baseball pays more. It's actually not the truth.
Right. Well, I actually spent a segment while you were out and you were skiing, you were going down the slopes, and Joy was gallivanting around Miami. I actually spent a good amount of time on this while you were out, which is people don't realize Aaron Judge even made $600,000 last year. Yeah. This is his 5th year as a professional athlete after playing at
biggest
Fresno
star
State.
of the Yankees.
Okay. Giancarlo Stanton. Now, Giancarlo Stanton's in his 2nd deal. There's about 10 of these colossal deals in the NFL. Kyler Murray's never going to get one, right?
You're talking baseball.
Right. He's a 5'10" outfielder or second baseman. Yeah. He's not a pitcher, okay? And he's not a prodigious home run hitter.
Right.
He's not going to generate one of those deals.
Bryce Harper money.
Additionally, it's easier to make it to sign a professional contract in baseball, but you're not actually a major leaguer. Whereas if you're a first-round pick, you get a 4-year guaranteed contract, and there's a paucity of quarterbacks in this year's draft. Yeah. So, yes, it's smarter for him to go out. Now, will he work? He's a combination of Doug Flutie with Mike Vick's
He'll work
arm.
enough. Lamar Jackson worked. He's a better thrower than Lamar. He'll work enough.
He's tiny.
I know.
Listen, Johnny Manziel is small. He's tiny.
I know.
Like, legitimately a small human being.
Right. All right, let's go back to the NFL. So, we have 4 games this week. Joey and I were talking about this. The audience sometimes thinks we root for a lot of different things. We root for interesting.
Yes.
You do.
And big markets.
Yeah, it helps when the Dallas Cowboys win, the Lakers winning, the Yankees winning, the Cubs winning.
Sure.
Top 8, 10 markets. Those are good for our business. Nothing against Westbrook, but if they dominated the league and they were playing the Pacers, it wouldn't be good for our business. Sure. I can assure you ESPN's got the NBA. They like San Francisco having a dominant team, and they want LA to have one, and they're praying somebody goes to the Knicks here eventually. Okay, that's the truth. So let's look at these games. The Rams-Cowboys is interesting. We all think McVay's a genius. What is the story Monday? if the Cowboys come in here and win, and McVay is 0-2, and everybody hired McVay's guys, and you're thinking, this McVay thing ain't that great. I think there's massive pressure on the Rams.
I think there's massive pressure on the Rams. I think that there will be people, and maybe it'll be you, that'll point out McVay's not that great. I would disagree.
No, I think he is great, but I think it's gotten to the point where the hype train surpassed reality.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
But they are the number 2 seed, right? And playing with the first place schedule from last year, like they're a pretty good football team, right. And they've stabilized things, and they've gotten a lot out of Jared Goff, even if he's regressed some here the last couple weeks of the season. I think the story of the Rams is that they are poorly constructed, right? You mentioned bringing in a backup to Todd Gurley. Remember, they were the ones who a year early went in and reworked his contract. They had all these front-loaded contracts, and because of it, they don't have the depth that some of these other teams have. And when they've had attrition and injuries, and that offensive line all of a sudden breaks down, suddenly some of their weaknesses get exposed. I think Cooper Kupp getting hurt them as well. Will the narrative be, Sean McVay, 2 home playoff games, 2 home playoff losses? Absolutely. But the other thing that'll be missed is how well constructed this Dallas defense is to deal with the modern offense, right? They have fast linebackers that can run, they can pressure the passer, and Jason Garrett, who some people called for his ouster midseason, people have finally, I think, figured out he knew exactly what he had, right? He's got limitations with Dak at quarterback. He knows he's got a great running game. Now that he's got, a number 1 wide receiver, and he still plays to his defense is his strength, he's figured out his team. I don't think the narrative will match the reality, but I do think that people will start to nitpick at Sean McVay if he loses a second consecutive home game in only 2 opportunities.
Do you think they win or lose?
I think they lose. I think the Dallas Cowboys are a better constructed football team, and they're the perfect matchup for that Rams offense.
All right, let's go to an AFC matchup, because I do think the Rams face real pressure. The other team I think faces real pressure is Kansas City. Andy Reid struggled. Patrick Mahomes MVP. They haven't won a home playoff game in the last 6. The Colts are playing with house money. They're a touchdown favorite.
Colts had the biggest comeback in AFC history, when they played them before. So
you're picking the Cowboys to beat the team at home with a little pressure. Do you think the Colts can beat Kansas City, the home team with the MVP, with a lot of pressure?
I do. And as you pointed out, the defense is as much the story as Andrew Luck's comeback is.
Defense has been shockingly quickly good.
Yes.
They don't have the personnel you think.
Yes. And look, I disagree with you in terms of the no-look passes. I like it.
Yeah.
But there's a reason that Brett Favre only won a Super Bowl, right?
He could be sloppy.
Well, just the chances that you take in the regular season, like those are great, but not turning the football over is a big thing. And I do think that trying to make plays, and Pat Mahomes will try and make plays. Like, was the defense a disaster when he was at Texas Tech? Of course. And he put up crazy numbers. But he also turned the football over a lot. He takes a lot of chances. And there's a reason that the kind of conservative coaches have won a lot of Super Bowls for a long time. I think this team is flawed in terms of their construction defensively. I don't think they're as good since they lost Kareem Hunt. They're just not.
They're not.
They're just not the same. And while the rest of the offense is the healthiest it's been in weeks, they haven't been able to figure out defense. And this is a Colts team, modern style of defense that can cover with speed, and a type of offense that can run it. They got Andrew Luck. And I think that the Chiefs have lost, their last 5 home playoff games, which is crazy considering it's the best home environment in the sport.
I know, it's great.
And yet it almost works against the Chiefs because they get tight because of the expectations.
So you like Indianapolis?
I do.
Wow! Okay, so he goes anti-favored teams with pressure. I do think the Rams and the Chiefs face unique pressure, could come out tight. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.